Hi, my name is Santiago Forbes. I'm a product of an incarcerated father, and I don't really have too many memories, and I'm gonna explain that through this podcast. And this is the Express Yourself podcast. Thank you.
Whoop. All right, we're back with Express Yourself podcast. I am your host, Kaina, and we are interviewing
Breanna.
All right, so Breanna, how old are you?
21.
21. And which parent and or parents are incarcerated?
It was my dad who was incarcerated my whole childhood.
Okay. And with that going on, what was your experience with dealing with that growing up?
So basically, it all started. My dad was a heroin addict and gang member. So it started before I could remember. Mm-hmm. When I was a baby, he went to prison and got a long sentence. And my whole childhood, only memories I have of him is going out to the desert, having a long drive, and only seeing him dressed in all blue. And my whole life, they try to tell me that he was in the army and I don't know what, because I didn't really know what to tell the kids at my school.
Yeah.
And so for a while, I believed he was in the army, and then I heard my older brother and my mom arguing one night, and like he got mad and threw it out there, like, oh, whatever about my dad, because it was true, another bad situation that we were in, my mom was in. So, yeah, like I don't have any fond memories of him other than going to visit him outside of jail, prison.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, visiting rooms aren't that fun.
Yeah.
Food's kind of okay.
Yeah, vending machine food, snacks.
Like the games though?
Visiting him, the games, yeah, they had like little playrooms, but it was always just like me wanting to be with my dad, and then just, seeing my grandma cry because I was his mom. It was just not, it was a good experience because I was seeing my dad, but like overall it was a sad experience.
Yeah. I totally get that. So besides, the not so happy, visiting experiences, how did this like affect you, like, on the day to day?
So it just, like I said, in school, kids asking, where's your dad? Father-daughter, dances or picnics, whatever. My grandpa would always go and replace him. And it was just something hard to have to explain to other people, because usually other people have two parents, or, at least, their parents are in their lives.
Yeah.
So that definitely was hard for me.
Besides like the whole military thing, did you like have any other like reasons why your dad wasn't around?
The military thing, like the prison thing.
Well, you said they told you he was in the military, so that's what you told kids.
That's what.
Did you say anything else? Did they give you any other excuses?
It didn't really make sense to them. It just like, oh, he's in the army, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
that was the only one. They're like, oh, all right, he's deployed. Yeah. He's not here.
Yeah.
So like dealing with all of that's going on, with being grown up with a parent that has been incarcerated most of your life. So why do you think, a podcast like this would be important to like anybody?
Because it's definitely not something that's talked about. Like I hate that. Like no one talks about their parents who are in jail, because the moms, usually it's the mom and the dad that's in jail, so the mom has to take on the full job of parenting. People don't talk about how moms don't get financial support from the state, like when the parent dies, which is a much worse situation. They just leave the kid to be raised by a single parent and go visit their dad in jail. Like I never got Christmas gifts or nothing, like not that I needed them, but yeah. I'm just saying, like my mom could have used a lot more help than my dad just sitting in prison, like that's something that the government needs to work on, and people need to spread awareness about incarcerated parents, because then it's just the kid ends up wherever they can end up.
Yeah, no. Was it like a struggle for your mom?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She was always struggling financially.
Forever. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
What would you say was the worst part about all that? The struggle, the growing up without your dad, having to explain it to other kids, them not really understanding.
Probably like just like all the time lost, and then you like when you're old enough to finally explain it, they're just happy to like hear from you, you know, and that's not the point. Like, it's like, no, you hurt me, you got taken away from me from shit that could have been prevented. Oh, am I supposed to cuss? Oh, you could have prevented, you know, going to prison, and, you know, you knew that you had a kid, but, you know, stuff happens. But it's just that, like, the whole communication part, like, he'll never understand, but I'll also never understand because I've never been in jail, so.
Well, yeah, that's true. So, like, pertaining to, you know, that, like, when were you able to, like, kind of, like, accept what was going on with your dad, like, being incarcerated and all that?
I mean, I still look down on him a lot for it. Like, it's still hard for me to accept, like, I don't know, it's hard for me to accept someone going to, you know, prison when they know they have someone out here, you know, a wife and a baby. But other than that, what was the question again? My bad.
Like, when were you able to come to terms with, you know, like, because yes, he has a wife, the kids, and all that, but, like, at the same time, that was his decision. He decided to do, you know, whatever it was that, you know, got him into that situation. So it's like, when were you able to be like, okay, yeah, I'm mad at you for that, but, you know, that's your problem?
I think it took a lot of my grandma, like, explaining to me, like, also the fact that there's nothing you can do about it anymore. It's just time lost. And overall, like, I'm just glad I didn't let it take over me, because I could have, you know, been a product of my environment, and I could have ended up incarcerated too. Or so other than that, I've came to terms with it by just accepting that you can't go back in time, and regardless, as long as I'm good today, then we're all good.
So is your father currently incarcerated now?
No.
So since he's not, do you see him and all that?
So after my dad was released from his sentence, I was about 10, and it was May 2010 when he was released, and that whole time we thought he was going to come home to us, and they actually let us know that he was getting deported. So he's been in Mexico ever since. So I just see him when I go on family vacations.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like, is he doing well in Mexico?
No.
You mind if I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, do you resent your father?
Yeah.
You have resentment towards him. Is it because you think that he was irresponsible for the choices that he made, or is it because you think that he neglected to consider how things would affect you? And that isn't, it may sound like the same question, but it's a different question, because you can resent him because he knew he had a child and a wife and all these things, but still made the dumb decisions that he made that put him in that situation. Or do you resent him because he knowingly did dumb shit? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I more resent him for the aftermath, but it is hard for me to accept that, you know. Like, I know he wasn't in the right mindset. He was young. He had me at 21, which is how old I am right now.
Yeah.
So I understand that, and it was back, you know, in the old days when, you know, the gangs were still popping, even though, like, you know, I don't know what's going on now, but I understand, you know, you kind of have to abide by that kind of lifestyle, those rules, you know. So in that part, I understand, but at the same time, I do have resentment for him just not doing anything to make up for that time lost, you know. Like, you can't just get out of prison and then be my dad all over again. Like,
he has to build a foundation.
Yeah, and I tried to do that. I try to, like, you know, call him dad. I can't call him dad. I have to call him by his first name. It's weird.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think that a podcast like this that's dealing with, so in my opinion, as a parent, so I'm a double-edged sword. My father was incarcerated, and my children's father is incarcerated. So in a way, I kept the cycle going, because not only did I have an incarcerated parent, but I put my children in a situation to have an incarcerated parent. And that's something I have to deal with for myself.
Yeah.
But on top of that, do you think that, because in my opinion, prison lifestyle for the significant others is very taboo. You don't talk about it. When you go visit, you only talk to the people there because they can relate to you. And some women do form bonds and friendships, but it's because you don't talk about it. Now, that's not to say pretty much everyone in America has an incarcerated family member. I don't care what nationality you are. Everyone in America has an incarcerated family member at one point in time or another. So it's not like it's not something that happens, but people make it so taboo. And then when it is discussed or addressed, you talk about the incarcerated person and you talk about the parent. In my opinion, the children don't have a voice. The children, it's not discussed because it does affect the children. Like you said, you remember going to a prison. That's the memories that you have. My youngest daughter, Ksenia, she only saw her father in prison. She doesn't have any memories of him in her childhood, and now she's finally reconnecting with him. And it's difficult for her because she doesn't know him. She knows that's her dad, but she doesn't know him as a person. So do you think a podcast like this would be helpful for you, for children younger than you, just to know that there are other children dealing with it, even though you don't talk about it? Because you're not going to go to school and be like, yeah, you know, they say, well, where's your dad? Oh, my dad's in prison. How about yours? So that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So do you think that doing a podcast like this is going to open up the conversation and really deal with how it affects children?
Yeah, I think it's very helpful.
Would you watch it and suggest other people to watch it?
Yeah, helps spread awareness.
To know that you're not alone? Or just, like, why? What would interest you about it?
Just that it happens, that there's kids out there who have to go through things that they don't deserve, and people don't even consider the fact that, you know, they don't have, they have a dad, but they're not there. They have a mom, but they're not there. They're in jail. They're, you know, enslaved by the government, basically. So. And
I just don't think that it's addressed for the children. So we really appreciate your candidness and your openness, and hopefully we get to have you back, because this is just the beginning of what we're doing, and we want to shine a light on this. So if there's anything you want to say to other kids who will be watching this to let them know or comfort them, I invite you to say it right now.
Just stay positive, and honestly, take care of yourself and who takes care of you. And the one thing that I appreciate from my dad being in prison is that I became a good writer, writing letters back and forth. So just stay positive and do what's best for yourself.
Thank you very much. Bing. So, Breanna, I had a couple of questions that I didn't get a chance to ask you. I would like to ask you. So you said that your dad was deported.
Yes.
And you guys didn't know he was going to be deported. So why would he have, how do I say it?
Why was
him being deported, does that mean he was not a citizen?
Yeah, so he was a resident.
Okay.
He was brought here when he was 3 years old.
And so was he a career criminal?
Career criminal?
Which means he started getting in trouble and just kept doing it over and over and over and over again.
Since middle school.
So basically he started getting in trouble in middle school and just perpetuated, and him continuously committing crimes led to him being deported.
Yeah.
So do you think that, one, him being incarcerated your whole childhood, two, leading to his deportation, do you think that hits differently than just being incarcerated?
Oh, yeah.
In what ways?
Because, well, I mean, we were always expecting for him to come home. We had all these exciting plans that were going to happen. And then we find out that he's going to go back to Mexico. Well, my mom was planning on moving to Mexico when I was 11, so that she could be out there. And by then I was like, I don't even want to, like, no, please no. Thankfully she didn't, but yeah, that was our ultimatum almost. Was that placed on you guys by your father, or was that just a decision your mom made because she wanted to follow her man? Yeah, my mom. She wanted to raise me with him, and they were married.
Okay. So, how long has he been deported for?
Since May 2010.
Wow.
So 10 years.
And your relationship was already strained.
Yeah.
Him being in another country, does that put further strain on your relationship?
Yeah, like, I mean, he's out there, and he didn't really, like, do anything to repair our relationship. You know, like, he's making time to party out there, but then he makes it seem like he's struggling because it's Mexico. It's not easy to make money.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, don't make it seem like you're struggling, but then you're out here turning up. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I get it, live your life, but, you know, I didn't even mention he went out there. He had 2 different kids from 2 different people, so he didn't make good decisions out there, and I couldn't help but not want anything to do with him.
So do you think that your relationship with your father is repairable?
I mean, I hope so. I would have faith in it, but he's just like a child himself.
So do you think that the roles are reversed in your situation where you're expected to be the adult and your father is being the child?
Yeah.
So do you think do you believe that too many responsibilities are put on you because so you're Mexican
Half, yeah.
and culturally Latins, Hispanics are very different than Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And culturally the man, boy, child, whatever you want to call it, they're right, they're praised, they're built up, there's excuses always made for them. Do you think that is the situation in your situation?
Yeah, like I'm supposed to feel sorry, and also, I'm Catholic, so we're supposed to forgive and forget and just be family. You never turn on your family, but I'm not turning on my family. I'm trying to stay sane, because I can't, it's not easy to understand these kinds of things because it's not something to understand. It's just something that you have to accept.
So do you think that, would you be open to your father? So say tomorrow he wakes up with this epiphany and realizes that he's a jackass and he reaches out to you and he starts like smothering you with attention and affection and wanting to build a relationship. Would you be receptive to that? Would you be skeptical to it? How would that affect you?
I mean, I would accept it and I would, try to keep it going, but I don't know if that'll ever happen. But I would let.
Do you have faith in your father?
Yeah.
Do you trust your father?
No, there's nothing to trust him for.
I can't stand you. Do you think that do you think your relationship is repairable? Or okay, so give me a second. So my father was incarcerated. I don't have a good relationship with my father. We just started being okay, but we don't have a father-daughter relationship. We have a friend relationship. I treat my father like a homie.
Yeah.
Because he made his mistakes. Now, unlike you, I grew up in the same town as my dad. Mm-hmm. But because my dad was also a heroin addict, drugs came before me. Drugs and women came before me. I have a very good relationship with my stepmother because when my dad was supposed to be spending time with me, he would take me to my stepmother. So I have a very strong relationship with my stepmother. I used to call her and wish her Happy Father's Day before I wished my dad a Happy Father's Day. So our relationship is a friendship relationship. He came in trying to be dad, and I was like, whoa. Sit down, clown. It's too late. I'm grown. Mm-hmm. So for you to try and father me, you need to cut that out. Now, my dad's a wonderful grandfather. My children love the ground he walks on. But he was not a good father to me. Mm-hmm. I have other siblings, and he was better to another set, and then better to the last set. But he was not a father to me. So we have a friendship relationship. Would you be open to a father-daughter relationship or a friendship relationship?
I mean, I've imagined in my head, like, when I get married and have a kid or kids, like, I would want him to be in their lives, but not if he behaves the same way that he does now. So, like, when I have kids, like, it's a little too late to father me and, like, have some say. But, I mean, you could be in my kid's life.
So then, like, similar to what I'm dealing with, my like I said, my kids, they think my dad is the best thing since sliced bread.
Really?
I don't have that opinion about him. Mm-hmm. I love my father. That's my father. But I don't have that opinion about him because it was difficult for me growing up in the same town as him, or the same city. I didn't live in a town. Yeah. In the same city as him, and not having a relationship. Uh-huh. And when he did come and pick me up, I spent time with my stepmother, not with him. Mm-hmm. So she was my father. And I've made this very clear to everyone. Because, as you know, I don't give a fuck. I've made that very clear. She was my father. Now, that's my sweet. Father and I have a friendship relationship. He's there for me. I can go to him if I need assistance. But for him to try and father me and tell me how to raise my children or how to do anything, my first response is, okay, well, you weren't a good parent, so who the hell are you to try and tell me what to do? Do you think that is a similar way that you would react if he came in trying to father you, as opposed to trying to be your friend? Because much like myself, that time, you're grown. That time for parenting, that it's over. Yes, he can give you advice as an older friend, but as a father, like, what did he do so great that you would listen to him in that aspect.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I can't even call him dad. I call him by his first name, you know, when I talk to him, when I address him directly. So, like, I wouldn't want him to just come and be like, oh, you can do this and this and that, or like, or, you know, even calling me baby, like, that's not even okay anymore. Like, when I was little, because, yeah, I thought you were this great person, but now, like, I'm not little, and I don't need a dad anymore, you know, so I probably wouldn't sit there and, like, let him try to parent me. But, like, I would accept it. I would accept him loving me like a parent, but not necessarily disciplining me.
So you're more open to more of a friendship relationship as opposed to a father-daughter relationship, because there's a difference. You know, as in, you know, him trying to come in and be a dad rather than a friend, supportive, have your back and be there for you, because he can still do that and not try to father you. So you're more open to the friendship type. And so your dad can never come back to this country.
I mean, I think he can. I'm not too sure, but I believe that costs money. And I don't think my grandma wants him to come back, because she thinks he's just going to get into the same mix. Because my grandma still lives in the area that he grew up in. So he can
go back to bad habits.
That's what she thinks,
Well, thank you very much, Breanna. I really appreciate your openness and your candidness. And tell all your friends about our podcast.
I will.
Thank you.